Our live Believe Nation, happy Wednesday. Wednesday is my project day, so I like having one day per week just to focus on projects. You know, all those things you got to get done. I like having one day just to have it all on my calendar, because Tuesdays are YouTube day and it's just crazy filming content all day long, strategy, all YouTube, just living in YouTube. And then Thursday, tomorrow, is my public facing day. So it's interviews and podcasts and hangouts all day long. And so today is my break, my break to work on creative work, whatever I want to get done, whatever I want to focus on. Today has been working on my visa so I can get to the US and start doing more work, which I'm excited by. I'm working on some Movie Maker stuff. We got Movie Makers tomorrow talking about, I think the topic is how to build your YouTube channel. So I'm super excited about that. Working on some Brandlytics stuff this afternoon, my social media content, but just like having one day per week that I can focus on whatever project I want to work on. I think it's helpful. I think having one day to be able to be creative and get the task done is really important, because otherwise things slip. So anything that I have kind of saved, I email myself and I open it up on a Wednesday, and that's what I go through. So what do we got? I got a special guest. I don't see him here in the chat yet, so you guys are going to know this man. You're going to love him. So as we wait for him to join, I'm saying hi to everybody. Rob in the house. I'm interviewing Floyd Mayweather again this week. Awesome. He's got a big fight coming up. I don't know how big a fight he sees that, but it'll be fun to see how well he does. Angel in the house, Zan, the man in the house, Tess in the house. Welcome aboard. I'm so pumped. I love it. Movie Makers tomorrow. Let's go. Movie Makers talking about YouTube. I offered insiders. I offered Drew to see if he wants to help me run the show tomorrow. We'll see. He's got a lot of stuff happening right now, so we'll see if he says yes or not. All right, here's my special guest. Here he comes. You guys are going to love this man. It's coming. And there he is.
Oh, what's up, my friend?
Mr. Dave Hollis in the house. How you doing, man?
Carmichael. I'm doing well, buddy. How are you?
Good. Guys, if you don't know Dave, author of Get Out of Your Own Way. This is the advanced copy that I got.
You know what I love about you? I mean, like, you were religious about posting your takeaways from the book, which I dug, but you also read at a pace that I don't understand. You just take your time reading a book, and I love that, though. There was something beautiful about, like, oh, you're still in it.
Dude, I'm a slow reader, and I read 7 books at a time, one on different days of the week. So I don't know. It's a weird system, but it works for me. So I forget what day of the week. So I went through this. I mean, it's got notes and stuff, and your dog earmarks on. I didn't want to do too much because I know this is the advanced copy. You know, I like at the back is like just blank pages where this is where acknowledgments are going to go. So I love the kind of sneak peek. This is just an idea, man. When we met in Puerto Rico,
it was just an idea. It was just an idea. We sat around a table talking about what it could be. And then a year later it came out, and now a year later there's another book that is coming out. So it's crazy.
Ooh, what's the new book coming out?
Oh, I have another book. It's called Built Through Courage, and it's coming. It's not till October, so we'll bludgeon people with conversation around what Built Through Courage is all about. But it's this idea that, like, we all live, for the most part, inside of a place that we have become comfortable with, that I would describe maybe as the safe harbor, where because of maybe having a little bit of fear, because of the way that we've just become connected to how it feels to be inside of that familiarity, even if it ends up meaning that we are settling for suffering that we know instead of pursuing something that might look different, we do so because we're afraid of what different might look like. And the whole conceit of the book is, if you are willing to face your fear, you have an opportunity to cast a vision for who you'd hope to become and understand the things it might take to get there. But it starts by just acknowledging a little bit of where you are and why you stay connected to the structures, the stories, the limiting beliefs that have kept you anchored to this dock that we, often find ourselves living inside of.
Dude, I love it.
Thanks, man.
Through courage?
Built through courage. Built through courage.
My book is built to serve, so that's why I get stuck in that. So Built Through Courage. Nice.
That's right.
And October
26th.
Are you coming to our September meetup?
Heck yes, I am. What are you talking about? I wouldn't
Are
miss
you
it.
bringing? Do I get my advanced copy in soft cover or something? Okay,
100%. You're gonna get that.
good.
You're gonna get that early version. We're gonna sit down and have a chat about it. We're gonna chop up how we can use this thing you described every once in a while. YouTube. What is the YouTube? I still have not yet figured it out. But
what are we? Dave Hollis needs to be on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. What is our YouTube strategy, Dave? What are we doing?
Well, here's the thing. I'm like in a little bit of a restart mode. So I was the beneficiary previously of having humans that had expertise inside of the social space generally and YouTube specifically. And as I am like in a 2.0 version of how I'm going to try and pursue offering value to humans and serving people with the work that I do, I am a team of one. Well, I take it back. I'm a team of one and another. So now there's two humans. I have a person named Susan who's amazing, but just the two of us are now trying to figure out, like, what does it look like to try and scale something from scratch after having had something that previously lived inside of an ecosystem with support. So my strategy in the short term is focus on the things that will move the needle most first. And unfortunately for me, YouTube has not necessarily been at the top of that list, but it needs to be. That's why I need to like hang out with you, man.
Dude, it's going to happen. People in the comments says Dave 2.0 is fabulous.
Let's go.
I love it. I agree. Dude, are you still doing, I mean, I remember you're doing the IG lives and you're running and coaching people and bringing people in. Is that still part of your plan?
Still part of it, yeah. I mean, we just finished today. We did a little 30-day move your body challenge. It was a very simple, like, if you were to commit for 30 days to 30 to 45 minutes of body movement, tracking what you're fueling your body with, and then trying to find the connection between movement and fuel on how it makes you feel, whether it's energy or mood or something that, you know, like I was myself tracking muscle composition, that like just doing that inside of the community was something that was a fun thing, a free thing, trying to encourage people to show up for themselves and hopefully in doing that, show up better for the people that they love the most. But I'm working on, I've got this nonfiction book that comes out in October. There's a tea time book based on this thing I do with my daughter that comes out in February of next year for kids. I am doing monthly coaching inside of Growth Day and have a podcast in Rise Together that happens every Thursday. So those are the things that I've been working on in real time, but like building out a new website, that's a thing that will happen in the next couple of months. Building out a YouTube channel, the thing that will happen in the next couple of months. But it's all fresh. It's all new. I mean, I am in the like last 6 months, 9 months, I've really been kind of looking at a bit of a blank piece of paper and trying to decide what I want this next version of how I can serve people best to look. And in a crazy way, like I've been a little more deliberate in taking time to make sure that the things that I am creating will lead first with service and will hopefully be tools that if people were to implement them, might afford them some life change. But that also, I would wake up in the morning and feel super passionate about it, like super, super excited about it. And so I think that's one of those things where I didn't want to rush it. And there's some good dividends that are paying off for taking a little bit of time to figure out what it is.
Honestly, I would, whatever you're doing on Instagram, all of your IG lives, I would just straight upload them to YouTube.
Okay, that's a good place to start.
Like no editing, just put it up, just as, because it's better than nothing. And and a lot of it is, I think what makes Dave Hollis so awesome is just the raw. You know, it's like, hey, this is me. Here's what I'm going through. Here are my struggles. Here's what I'm excited by. And people just feel like all of these are just basically all of your insecurities, dude. Like one by one. And here's another insecurity and a lie I told myself. And here's how so I think that's really your brand. It's not just the everything has to be perfect and I'm the perfect human. It's the I'm really just like you. And
I'm
so
a
I think
totally normal human. Yeah, like
you're freakishly tall. That is besides
I am freakishly tall. I've been cutting my own hair in quarantine. Sorry about that, everybody. But I did find that I can
better than no hair, dude.
Well, I mean, you're handsome. Thank you. I'm sitting down with the publisher for this next book release tomorrow with the marketing team, and I'm like actually laying out like, okay, well, how do we create something awesome for the pre-sale window, and how do we get people excited about the fact that it's actually coming out? And YouTube is on the agenda, so I will take your advice. I'm going to start putting things up on a channel that already exists but has zero traffic, and I've never done, frankly, almost anything to promote the fact that it actually exists. I know I have to. I just haven't.
Yeah, I can give you an entire YouTube strategy. We'll talk about that in September.
Let's dive into it.
But but for now, I would just honestly, like, whatever, don't overcomplicate things. Just post whatever you post on IG, you post to YouTube. If you're going for a run and you're just giving some inspirational talk, that's a YouTube video. It's vertical. It's not going to be pretty, but it's better than zero. And in inside thought leadership, your ideas are badly needed. It's why I'm always so pumped to. Dave Hollis is coming on. This is great.
Let's go. How often do you post? Like inside of your channel right now, how many times a day are you putting something up on YouTube?
YouTube will post across all of our channels 20 to 30 times a day.
Holy cow. All right. You have more than a single human named Susan, clearly. That's amazing.
I mean, we have 35 people on the team. But on the main channel, we do once a day. We've done once a day. Total videos on the channel, including unlisted, is 10,000 something. So it's pretty crazy. But I've been doing this for a while, right? I mean, April 2009, I think was my first video. So it's been a couple minutes.
That's awesome. I mean, I want to acknowledge Courtney in the comments is suggesting in real time that this is like a cool thing to watch. Entrepreneurs that like kind of get together, work together, whatever. And I will just say for anyone who doesn't understand the genesis of how you and I sitting around a table, right? Like we have had the benefit of being a part of a mastermind, for lack of a better word, where a bunch of us get together, have conversations, and the strengths that any individual person may have that they can bring to the table end up being a benefit to every person who's sitting at the table. And Evan certainly has, as a superpower in this planet, YouTube strategy, and has, I mean, God bless you, has been trying to beat me over the head with how I ought to also implement some of the things that he's been advising on. But if you as a listener currently are not surrounding yourself with people that are better at certain parts of the business or the life that you'd hope to live, then you are sitting in the wrong circle. And so like finding a way to sit at those tables, even if they are virtual circles, right? Like even just like sitting inside of a conversation like this, maybe affords you just a little bit of insight or like the permission to post in the way that Evan is trying to encourage me to post. I don't even know what it is that has kept me from posting. The thing is, I'm so much of an open book most of the time. I think it's just that I have a little bit of a story that I've told that I don't understand YouTube well enough, or that I don't know how to do it. And so since I don't, that I shouldn't until I could do it really, really well. And that's ridiculous. I understand that it's ridiculous as it comes out of my mouth. And yet that's still a story that I'm trying to confront.
It's so important because it's still the only place where your content lives forever. You know, that post that you put up today, that video in 5 years is still getting you attention, traffic, awareness, versus Instagram, Twitter, all of it disappears. Like a week later, nobody cares. And the stuff you talk about is so timeless. It's not that this is an only June 2021 strategy. You know, the stuff you talk about is so timeless that, anyway, I just think your voice is needed, dude. And I would love to see it. And if you start, whatever you post on Instagram, post to YouTube, and then obviously videos, and then we'll look at it in September. We'll look at it, and I'll then give you a better longer term strategy. But step one is just like everything else. Step one is just start.
No, the thing I think when I was with you last that like had my brain explode just a tiny bit was your ability to show where in a video someone dropped off and where in a video someone rewound to hear something again. And like the trail of breadcrumbs that those insights might be for how you take that part of the video, the one that they rewound, and actually use it as a part of marketing inside of something.
He's paying attention. He's paying attention.
Now if I could just implement the thing that you told me. But like I love the idea that like, man, there's like real-time insight available. Your audience is telling you the things that are sticking, and maybe even more importantly, the things where you've lost their attention. And if you can use that information to make better videos the next time, or like rework the thing that already exists into something that might be marketing to just deliver more value. It's just like, it's so good. I just got to go do it.
Well, listen, we're starting to do it on Growth Day for Brendan.
Yeah.
And we're going to share that with the speakers too. So I know I've shared with you like one of the clips that you did on Growth Day, but even inside that 10-minute clip, there'll be a moment from 2 minutes and 32 seconds to 4 minutes and 18 that, hey, if you cut this for an IGTV video, it has the highest. So we'll start sharing that with you guys as well when you're ready to go. But yeah, starting point, just post, dude. People need your message.
Post.
So where are you now with the thought leadership stuff? I mean, this is your first, right? So now he's doing the annual book thing. He's doing the growth-based stuff. He's being a coach. He's being a speaker. He's getting his YouTube channel going. What's the plan? What are you moving towards?
Well, it's interesting because the tagline or the subtitle of that book has the word skeptic in it, because I think I identify as a skeptic in some respects, even today, as a person who is immersed inside of and has been the beneficiary of a ton of growth that's happened as my own growth journey continues. And so I don't know, I think like if I were to think about like who am I or what my brand might be, like I'm probably going to be someone who's a little more honest about the way that I still struggle, or the way that in like having a breakthrough, it probably came inside of a space that was uncomfortable and I wasn't, necessarily every single day proud of necessarily. And so, I don't know, like that to me, I'm trying to figure out how to serve an audience best by staying true to the experience that we all share as human beings. And so if there's a way for how I've processed divorce in the last year, or how I'm approaching pushing myself in a triathlon in July or an Ironman in September, like those kind of things, like I still have a lot of fear around a bunch of the stuff that I'm going to do, but there is, I think, some universalness to the way that each of us might approach pushing into an uncomfortable new space. And so when I think about like, well, what role do I play inside of thought leadership? Or, I mean, I don't even like the word necessarily, but like inside of the work that I'm doing currently, I'm trying to show you a little bit of what my journey has been in the hopes that there is relatability to it and in somewhat of an empathy bridge that might be created in explaining some of what I've been through, that if there were a tool or a trick or something that I was able to use that helped me continue on this never-ending journey of becoming, that maybe you can use that same kind of tip or trick to help you. If you're stuck, get out of stuck. If you're already on a journey and growing, to even grow further and dream bigger and achieve even more. So I don't know, my short-term, most recent question that I've been asking, like I truly believe that every single person who's listening to this, you and myself, we were created with very intentional, deliberate design. That there was this thing that was thought out by our creator for who we each could be. And so the question I'm asking right now in real time is like, how can I honor the intention of my creator in the way that I'm doing the work that I do and trying to serve the community of people that I spend time with every single day? And like, I'd love to give you an answer that like, oh, that means I'm building X, Y, or Z. Like in real time, I'm focusing on like in the next 30 to 90 days, how can I best honor the intention of my creator in a way that keeps me on this journey and serves the audience really well?
Come on, guys. We need this man on YouTube. What? Come on. This is fantastic. When I first met you, so in Puerto Rico, was that 2019? No, 2020?
It was like, no, it was
2019.
2018 or 19. It was early. Yeah.
2019. Okay. So when we all met, when we all got together, I mean, I didn't even know who you were really because you weren't on
you were. So
yeah.
We were even.
Because you're not on YouTube. You don't know who I am. And I had no idea who you were.
Yeah.
And what I loved, like one of the first things that you said when we're kind of going around the table introducing ourselves, and for people watching now, this is a pretty elite group. You got Brendan Burchard there, and Dean Graziosi, and Jay Shetty, and a woman who just sold her business for $1 billion, Jamie Kern-Lima, who we all know now, and all of these super high-level entrepreneurs. And the first thing that you said was, when you first got invited to the group, you felt like you didn't belong here. It's like big imposter syndrome, like, yeah. What am I going to contribute to these guys? And it was the first thing that I thought too, because my tagline is believe. I'm trying to solve the world's biggest problem. People don't believe in themselves enough. But what, am I going to go teach Brendan Burchard about believe? I just feel like, oh my God, why am I even here?
Yeah.
But I didn't have the, built through courage. I didn't have the courage to say that. And it was like the first thing out of your mouth. They're like, I like this guy. I don't know who he is, but he's amazing. So is that a conscious thing for you that you're trying to, like, whatever insecurity you're kind of feeling right now, I just want to get it out there to the world?
Yeah. What's interesting is, and there was even like a little part of this in that last book where if I'm able to take the thing I have the most fear for, or the insecurity that's been triggered, or the imposter syndrome that exists, and I'm able to name it and represent it before it can either be weaponized by someone else or weaponized by the voice in my head, I'm able in some ways to dismantle it and actually ask, like, is this real? Is it a thing that I am allowing to manifest because of having given it weight? Or is this a thing that is BS, that's just like ridiculous, that plays on something that happened when I was younger, or that like has been triggered anytime I find myself in something new? And by sitting at that table and owning it in front of a bunch of people whom I respect, I mean, frankly, some of whom, to be honest, I didn't even know. But to start in that place that represents, hey, I am here in a posture of humility, looking for you with the expertise that you have in a space that I do not yet have any expertise. I'm interested in learning as much as I possibly can. And I want to make sure that I set a little bit of like front loading in some ways, an expectation that I know I have enough self-awareness to acknowledge that this is where I'm starting from. And in that, I think that the like willingness for anyone at that table to put their arm around me and say, man, I've been in that place. I also recognize when I was, at that point in the journey, I also felt that insecurity, or I also felt that imposter syndrome. And what I needed more than anything was for someone like the people at this table to say, hey, number one, it's normal. Like just normalize the fact that these feelings exist. And number two, here's some tools or tricks that worked for me when I was there that you might be able to deploy inside of your own life to change the way that you're feeling about the challenge of walking into and trying to conquer something that's new. And so, I talk about it in the last book when it came to negotiating big deals inside of the entertainment industry. When I left Disney, I was the head of sales for the movie studio. I got the job when I was 36. I had no experience relative to the people that were on my team and no experience relative to the people that were sitting across the table in negotiations. And to be able to engender some trust with the people on my team. Hello, I don't know as much as you do. So I need, one, some permission to ask really dumb questions so that you can make me smarter about this business that I am trying to lead. Number two, I would often say, you may have believed yourself to be a better candidate for this position than me. And guess what? On paper, I wouldn't even argue with that. But let's just acknowledge that that exists and figure out how I can best serve your interests and how you, in supporting me, might allow me to be the best kind of leader for our collective mission in achieving our goals. When it came to the negotiations, right, we're on the other side of the table. Often, I was afraid that somebody on the other side of the table was going to represent my lack of experience or how I didn't understand the way deals worked. And so I would start the meeting by acknowledging, look, I don't have any idea how deals have worked historically, and you guys have so much more experience than I do. But what I hope that it might create or afford is some objectivity that allows me to think differently about mutually beneficial deal making that isn't encumbered by the way things have always been done. Now, immediately, right, I've taken the poison out of the thing that they could have weaponized against me in the negotiation and opened their mind to the possibility that that objectivity could be a resource and not a liability. And so, like, it was good for me. It was hopefully good for them. Certainly when it came to the people on my team, it connected us in that they were like, oh, well, at least this guy doesn't drink his own Kool-Aid or think that he has more experience than me or is going to tell me what to necessarily do. He's trying to actually pull me into his world in a way that stays somewhat more humble and acknowledges and has some respect for the expertise that the people I would depend on actually had. Of course I needed that. I couldn't have done the job without them.
Do you know what you're going to ask our mastermind group in September?
The weird thing is I asked the same question 3 years in a row. And now I think I have to ask a new question. I mean, like 3 times in a row, my question was, just because you can build it, should you? Just because you can, should you? And at the time, right, scaling something that ended up, like there was a lot of success, it was happening at a fast pace, it felt like it might compromise some of what I had as interests for lifestyle, some of what I had as interests in relationship. And so like the conversation that ended up happening around that big question, just because you can, should you? It was so helpful, because now as I'm back at square one and I'm trying to construct what it looks like in the future, my goal is not empire building. My goal is creating something that would affect the way that I might be recognized by my adult children 20 years from now at a birthday celebration. The way that the video that plays at my funeral might recognize the legacy that was created in the back half of my life. Now, might an empire be built? Okay, maybe, as long as it doesn't compromise the way that I connect with people that I love and show up well for my kids, as long as it doesn't change the way I feel about myself when I'm by myself, maybe. But I don't know that I have that as the primary question necessarily anymore. I think I have a pretty good answer. Just because you can, I don't know that necessarily you should. I actually think I want to stay focused on how can I best deploy the light that was afforded to me by our Creator to give that light away to the people who are in need of whatever it is that I might be able to afford them. And so that's why, again, like, I'm pacing myself just a little bit in focusing on writing as good a book as I possibly can and what comes out next, in really focusing on trying to be the very best coach to, the community inside of Growth Day. But I also have taken on just a small handful of one-on-one coaching clients. I mean, I'm not even charging them in real time, but I'm doing it because of the way that it kind of fills me up and fuels me to see if it's a thing that I actually want to go and do full time, like to expand it. But I don't think we spend enough time dipping our toe in the waters of things we haven't necessarily tried before we jump completely full force all in. And the idea of kind of like playing with your curiosities to see which of your curiosities develop into passions is such an important and undervalued thing that I've just like really been spending time with. Like, is this the thing that when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, yes, I am on fire to go do this thing. Like, when I see that I've got my hour-long meeting with this person, I'm working with someone named Mindy right now, and she is a world changer. And she is like trying to step into the world-changing possibilities that exist in her life. And I have so much affection for her and her mission in this world. And when I see that I've got that time on the calendar with her, I'm out of bed. I'm like, yes, this is why I'm on this planet. I feel great about the way that I am honoring the intention of my Creator in having made this a deliberate decision for how I'm going to spend part of my day today. I want that, like, we can spend our lives doing pretty much anything, but if you're waking up every day and you're not on fire for, have passion for the thing that you're getting up to go do, what is this life?
So, do you know what your question is going to be this year?
I don't yet know what my question is going to be.
On the plane ride over, you're going to figure it out?
I am going to figure it out. No, I'm going to spend more time than that. I have adopted this ritual now of trying to spend a couple of days disconnected from technology with a notebook in some place of nature. And my time to do that happens to just precede our time in where we're going in September. And so I'm going to use the time, because what I've found is, like, there's so much noise in the world that when we are encumbered by all of the distraction, competing agendas, other people's needs, or whatever it might be, even just like messages from marketing or the incessant nature of news using fear. Like, it's really, really hard to uncover what it is that you are here for in the next 6 months or 2 years of your life. And I'm going to go sit on this rock in the middle of nowhere out in Tucson, Arizona. And I am going to, with my open notebook, just write. And it's not like, the prompt is basically what's in your heart, what's on your mind, what is your intuition telling you to spend time on. And I'm going to come out of that, and I'll have my question ready from there.
I love it. Well, thank you, Dave and Evan. I think this video gave me the perspective I needed. I love it. You're getting so much feedback in the chat. That's why you got to be on YouTube. This video should go. So this video is going to be on my YouTube. For people who watch the replay, we obviously got a live audience here, but people who watch the YouTube replay, where do you want to send them to? We'll probably get a couple 100,000 people watching this. Where do you want? Is it the book? Is it your Instagram? Where do you want people to go?
I mean, I spend most of my time on Instagram. I mean, Instagram and Facebook, but like Instagram, Mr. Dave Hollis is my handle. Like that's probably the place to hear most about whatever it is that I'm thinking on any given day. And I'm gonna obviously, like in stories and in post, direct you to whatever ends up coming. My website, to be honest, it's almost done, but I can't even send people necessarily to it just yet because there's nowhere to go. But hang out with me on Instagram. It's the place where I think I feel most comfortable and probably share the most of what's on my mind.
All right, YouTube, check the description below. We'll link that up. Go follow this man. Get ready for his new book. When do pre-orders begin?
The weird thing is they've already begun, but we haven't actually announced the cool incentives that you get for doing it. So
okay.
I think they officially will kick off with a bunch of great coaching stuff that you get for free July 28th.
Okay. Built Through Courage. Get ready. Great news
coming.
will be dropping soon. It's coming. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate you, man. Always all the love, energy, the perseverance, the courage for you to show up, and can't wait to hang in September.
Right on, brother. I look forward to it. Thanks for having me on today.
Much love.
Brother. All right. Take care.